Buddhism and culture in Nepal, 9th to 18th century. The period from the beginning of Nepal's Sambat era, AD 879, to the end of the 18th century is considered the Middle Ages in Nepali history. This era is further divided into two phases. From AD 879 to AD 1200, known as the Dark Age or the Thakuri dynasty, and from AD 1200 to AD 1769, called the Malla Yuga. The term Dark Age stems from the scarcity of historical records from this period. There is little mention in genealogies, foreign sources, and no coins have been discovered from this time. While politically, this era may be seen as a dark period, from a Buddhist Vajrayana perspective, it was an era of great importance. Nepal emerged as a significant center for the study of Buddhism and Sanskrit due to its connections with India and Tibet. Important Buddhist texts, including Prajnaparamita, Saddharma Pundarika Sutra, Pancharakshak, and Namasangati were written, and a rich traditions of Buddhist art began to develop. With the decline of Buddhism in India towards the end of the 12th century, the Kathmandu Valley became the heart of Vajrayana Buddhism. The Malla kings, in particular, played a key role in supporting Buddhism by constructing temples, erecting statues, and organizing religious festivals or jatras. However, due to the influence of Brahmanism, Buddhist monks increasingly adopted a householder lifestyle, and the caste system based on occupation became more pronounced. In Western Nepal, Buddhism thrived under the caste Malla kings, especially towards the end of the Malla period. Many old monasteries or bihars and stupas or chaityas were renovated and new ones were constructed. Vajrayana Buddhism held more sway during this period than other forms such as Theravada or Mahayana. From the 8th to the 12th century, during the reign of Pal dynasty in India, Nepal maintained close ties with India and Tibet for Buddhist education and studies. Nepalese students studied at the great monastic universities of Nalanda and Vikramasila, while Indian scholars often came to Nepal to teach. Nepal served as a vital bridge for transmitting Buddhism to Tibet, with Indian scholars traveling through Nepal to Tibet and Nepalese scholars contributing to this transmission as well. During this period, significant progress was made in the transcription, copying, and preservation of Buddhist texts. Many of these texts were housed in various monasteries across Nepal, and they can now be found in libraries and museums around the world, including in Tibet, Japan, and in USA. During this period, the introduction of Pal art to Nepal led to the widespread creation of statues depicting female deities such as Dakinis, Yogini, Tara, Prajnaparamita, and Vasundhara, as well as male deities like Avalokiteshwar, Manjusri, and Panchabuddha. These sculptures mark a distinct artistic traditions that became emblematic of medieval Nepal. The kings of this era actively promoted Buddhism. King Gunakamdev, for instance, built the Gunakamdev Bihar and initiated pilgrimage to Lokeshwar. King Manadev renounced his throne to pursue a monastic life at Chakravarna Mahavihar in Patan. Gunakam II constructed the Padma Chakra Vihar, where two significant Buddhist texts were composed. Similarly, King Lakshmi Kamdev founded the Lakshmi Kamdev Vihar, and under the joint rule of Bojadev, Rudradev, and Lakshmi Kandev, an idol of Dipankar Buddha was enshrined in Samay Bihar. During this time, a deep connection developed between Buddhism and the Nath sect. Siddha Gorakhnath, the head of the Nath sect, was a disciple of Machendra Nath, who is revered by both Buddhism and Hindus. In the Buddhist tradition, Machendra Nath is known as Padmapani Lokeshwar. According to a famous legend, Bandhu Dattacharya, with his spiritual power or Siddhi, brought Machendra Nath from Kamaru Kamaksha to Nepal during the reign of King Narendra Dev. This story further cemented the relationship between the Nath sect and Buddhism. Despite external invasion, Vajrayana Buddhism persisted in the Kathmandu Valley. In 1112, King Nanyadev of Simrangarh sent his Tirhutia soldiers to invade Nepal, and in 1245, a fierce battle occurred when King Ram Singh of Tirhut attacked the Kathmandu Valley. Even with these challenges, Vajrayana Buddhism managed to survive and continued to thrive within Newar Buddhist society. However, these invasions also led to the growing influence of Hinduism in Kathmandu Valley. For instance, Mukunda Sen of Palpa attacked Kathmandu with the assistance of Brahmins, although his attempt ultimately failed. Still, these battles facilitated the spread of Brahmanism in Nepal. Around this time, many Brahmins from Bengal and Bihar migrated to the Kathmandu Valley, further solidifying the influence of Brahmin tradition. Social tensions also arose in this period, as local communities faced existential crisis following the conquest of heretical groups. Brahmin priests seized the opportunity, engaging in local religious practices and assimilating into the existing rituals. They introduced their own gods and goddesses into the religious framework of Nepal. During the reign of King Anandadev, 1147 to 1166, Sankaracharya from the Amardaka traditions arrived in Nepal from Agnimat. Sankaracharya, who had come from Kosi with his disciples, spread Saivism and initiated the Nepalese kings and subjects into Shiva worship through the Shiva Diksha. He became a leading figure in defending and revitalizing Hinduism during times of religious tension. Sankaracharya's influence led Buddhist monks to adopt a householder lifestyle, which caused the decline of the Theravada monastic tradition. Monk and Buddhist monasteries became pressed, and Buddhism began to blend with Hindu traditions. However, according to some historians, it was not Sankaracharya, but a figure named Rudrasiva who came to Nepal. Around 1144, Rudrasiva visited Nepal twice from Kasi. He initiated several royal figures including King Anandadev, Prince Vasantadev, Somvarsa and Yasomalla, and established the Sambhu Prasad at the confluence of Vishnumati Sangam. Rudrasiva also appointed Bhatta Brahmins to conduct Prarthana Puja according to the Saiva traditions and organized the Sri Yantra Puja at the Pasupatinath temple. The rivalry between Buddhism and Hinduism during this period gave rise to new social classes, contributing to the development of the caste system. People working in bihars and other religious institutions were restricted to specific classes, with religious leaders establishing their positions as patriarchal authorities. This led to the creation of occupational caste, with even religious figures participating in class distinction. In Buddhism, the Vajracharyas became influential, resulting in division between Vajracharya monks and Sakya monks, both followers of Sakyamuni Buddha. Sankaracharya's influence in Nepal, whether directly or indirectly, played a role in shaping both Hinduism and Buddhism, as the rites and deities of these two religions began to merge. Hindu and Buddhist deities were often worshipped side by side in the Kathmandu Valley. For instance, the Buddhist goddess Harati Ajima came to be revered by Hindus as Sitalamai, while Hindu deities like Mahakal and Ganesh were enshrined in Buddhist temples. After the Muslim invasion of Bengal and Bihar around 1198, which caused widespread devastation in India, many Buddhist teachers and tantric practitioners fled to Nepal. Prominent among them were scholars like Ratnakirti, Buddhasri, and Vairochana, who helped revive Vajracharya Buddhism in the region. Under their influence, the Kathmandu Valley became a key center of Vajracharya practice, with the monks at Swayambhu playing a crucial role in shaping Tibetan Buddhism. In the 13th century, Nepal's religious and cultural ties with Tibet grew stronger as Tibetan Buddhist teachers visited Nepal. They installed Avalokiteshwar statues in important bihars such as Thambahi and Bungkha, further solidifying Nepal's influence on Tibetan Buddhism. From this time, the Kathmandu Valley became a prominent pilgrimage site for Tibetans who traveled there to study Buddhism, art, and culture. Later in the 13th century, the Sakyapa sect emerged in Tibet, ushering in the new chapter of Tibetan Buddhism with the construction of Sakya monasteries. This period also saw a flourishing of cultural and artistic exchanges between Nepal and Tibet. One notable figure was Araniko, a master artist sent by King Avai Malla in 1271 to lead a team of 80 Nepalese artists to Tibet. Their mission was to build the Suvarna Chaitya at the Sakya monasteries. The success of this project brought great renown to Araniko and further elevated Nepal's influence in Tibet art and culture. The fame of Aroniko's artistic talents extended beyond Tibet and reached China, thanks to the Tibetan guru Vaspa, who introduced him to the court of Mongol Emperor Kublai Khan. In China, Aroniko carried out significant works, including repairing ancient statues, constructing the Svedango Chaitya, creating silk cloth painting, and sculpting Buddha statues for various Buddhist monasteries. Through his contribution, Nepalese Buddhism, culture and art spread through Tibet and further into China. In 1334, after Hari Singh Dev of Karnataka conquered Tirhut, the process of formalizing the caste system in Nepal began in earnest. Hari Singh Dev, the first Hindu king to strictly enforce Brahmanical rule of pure blood, brought with him 7 castes, including Brahmins, Bharyal, Acharya, Jaisi, Vaidya, Rajak and Kharki, when he and his entourage fled to Nepal following the Muslim invasion of Simrangarh. His entourage included religious scholars, priests, physicians, washermen and butchers, occupations necessary for maintaining his daily life and religious practice. After Hari Singh Dev's death and rout, his widow, Queen Devala Devi, ensured that all these groups retained their status and positions in Nepali society. Queen Devala Devi's actions played a crucial role in integrating these individuals, including washermen and butchers, into Nepal's caste structure, establishing them as lower caste. This development deeply impacted the social hierarchy of Nepal, further entrenching caste divisions and strengthening the privileged positions of Brahmins. Her administration not only reinforced caste distinctions, but also brought stability to the country rife with local instability and anarchy. Following the subsequent restoration of the Malla dynasty, a unified national monarchy was established, which further safeguarded local interests. In 1349, Sultan Samsuddin of Bengal launched a devastating 7-day raid on Nepal, an event recorded in historical documents like Gopal Raj Vangshavali, the Pimbal inscription, and the Swayambhu inscription. The Sultan entered Nepal through its eastern borders and launched his first attack on Bhaktapur. Faced with Samsuddin's massive army, the local military was unable to mount an effective defense, prompting the king and people to attempt resistance wherever possible. During the invasion, the Muslim forces looted Bhaktapur, destroyed temples and set fires. Changu Narayan and other sacred sites were also attacked, and the idols of Pasupatinath were smashed. The cities of Kathmandu and Lalitpur were ravaged, and the Swayambhu Stupa's treasures, including gold, silver and Navaratna, were plundered before it was set ablaze. Additionally, a large chaitya in Pimbahal, Lalitpur, was destroyed during the onslaught. 7 years after the attack by Sultan Samsuddin in 1349, Meghpal restored the Pimbahal chaitya. 11 years later, in 1360, Banepa's Mahamantri Jai Shri Ram restored the idol of Pasupatinath, while the reconstruction of the Swayambhu Stupa was completed in 1372, 23 years after the invasion. During the medieval period, the caste Malla, who ruled western Nepal, were deeply influenced by Buddhism, a connection that stemmed not from India but from Tibet. Historical records reveal that Asok Challa, one of the caste Malla kings, was a patron of Buddhism, constructing Buddhist deities and chaityas. His son Krachalla also converted to Buddhism, and with the support of his lords, built a monastery in Bodh Gaya, India, and installed a Buddha statue. The pillar inscription of Asok Challa at Dullu describe him as a Vajra servant, affirming his faith in Vajrayana Buddhism. Similarly, an inscription at Padukstan in Dullu, reading Om Namo Buddhaya, Sri Asok Challa, further solidifies his Buddhist belief. Buddhism thrived under the caste Malla, as evidenced by the copper plates of Prithvi Malla, which features symbols such as Khadga, Sankha, Surya, Chandra, Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, illustrating his religious faith. For about 4 centuries, Buddhism flourished in western Nepal, as evidenced by numerous monasteries, Buddha statue and artifacts discovered in regions like Surkhet. King Pratap Malla, who reigned in the 17th century, made significant contribution to Buddhism. In 1658, during a severe drought, he consulted Vajracharya and worshipped at shrines like Pasupati, Gueshwari, Vajrayogini, Changu and Gokarneshwar, but to no avail. When a rumor suggested that the rain would fall if a book written in snake's blood was retrieved from Santipur, Pratap Malla personally entered Santipur in 1657, retrieving a picture written in serpent blood. This act was followed by heavy rainfall, much to the relief to the people. The book and paper were then returned to Santipur. Pratap Malla also made significant contribution to Buddhist architecture. He invoked the name of Buddhist deities Asogvaya and Ratnasambha when constructing a bridge over the Vishnumati river. He built the Pratappur and Anantapur stupas at Swayambhu, enshrining the fire deity and Ugratara respectively. He installed the Pancha Buddhas and Taras at the base of Swayambhu stupa and established the Dharmadhatu Mandala, as well as a Vajra on the east side adorned with a gold jalap. In 1659, he further offered gold to Swayambhu stupa's Gaju. Additionally, Pratap Malla documented the construction of Vajrayogini temple at Sanku and allocated land for its worship on the day of Chaitra Purnima. He also sponsored the celebration of Buddha Jayanti every year on Vaishak Purnima. Another notable monarch, King Jayaprakash Malla, contributed to the restoration of Swayambhu Chaitya by offering the Indra Kalas and enshrining 99 statues of Buddha and Bodhisattva, along with 64 deities of Dipankar Buddha. Despite the growing influence of Hinduism during the Malla period, both the kings and Buddhist householder continued their dedication to charity, festival and the construction and restoration of bihars, idols and chaityas. Buddhist rituals and traditions flourished during the Malla period and continue today. Annual pilgrimages, pujas and donations to the Vihar Sangha were maintained as seen in the records and Tamokspatras from that era. The Panjaran festival celebrated in Patan on Shravan Shukla Ashtami and Shravan Krishna Trayodasi continues to be observed in cities like Kathmandu, Bhaktapur, Thimi, Banepa, Kirtipur, Handigaon, Pokhara, Palpa and even Tibet. The Samaitan festival is held annually in Bhaktapur on Magh Sankranti, every 4 years in Kathmandu and every 5 years in Patan. Lokeshwar Jatra is celebrated in Patan, Kathmandu and other locations with Astavrata, Vasundhara Vatra and other Buddhist rituals and festivals developed during the Malla period remain significant today. Thank you.